Remember 2008? That feeling of financial panic in the air, headlines screaming about a meltdown, a collapse triggered by something that was supposed to be the bedrock of the American dream, owning a home. Mortgages, chopped up and sold off, became financial weapons that brought the global economy to its knees. Well, fast forward to today. The same warning lights are flashing, but the crisis isn't starting in the housing market. This time, the ticking time bomb is parked in your driveway. In 2008, it was bad mortgages. Today, a new crisis is brewing, and it could be a major drag on the economy. Right now, a staggering 18% of new car buyers are signing up for a monthly payment of over $1,000. This isn't just a market slowdown, it's a bubble stretched to its breaking point, pumped full of risky loans, unbelievable prices, and consumers who feel trapped. We're going to break down the five critical signs that the massive $1.65 trillion auto loan market is in serious trouble, what it means for you, and how it could ripple through the entire economy. The first and most obvious warning sign is how we've all started to accept the absurd. I'm talking about the explosion of four-figure car payments. According to the latest data from Experian, the average new car payment has hit a wild $749 per month, with used cars not far behind at $529. But those are just the averages. The truly eye-watering number is that nearly 1 in 5 new car buyers is now stuck with a payment over $1,000 a month. Think about that. $12,000 a year for a depreciating asset that loses a chunk of its value the second you drive it home. So, how on earth did we get here? It's a toxic cocktail of three main ingredients. First, sticker shock. The post pandemic world created a perfect storm for car prices. Supply chain messes, especially the chip shortage, meant fewer new cars. With empty dealership lots, basic economics took over. Low supply and high demand sent prices soaring. The average price for a new car has now blown past the $48,000 mark. On top of that, market adjustments became the norm, with dealers tacking on $5, $10, even $20,000 to the sticker price. Desperate for a vehicle, people felt they had no choice but to pay up. The second ingredient is the rising cost of money itself. As the Federal Reserve jacked up interest rates to fight inflation, car loans got a lot more expensive. In the first quarter of 2025, the average interest rate for a new car loan was 6.73% and a punishing 11.87% for used. For subprime borrowers, those with credit scores below 660, the rates are just brutal. We're talking 15.81% for new and a jaw-dropping 21.58% for used cars. People are paying credit card level interest on a car. This leads to the third and maybe the most dangerous ingredient, stretching out the loan. To make these insane prices and high rates look affordable on a monthly basis, lenders have pushed loan terms to historic lengths. The 5-year loan used to be standard. Now the average loan for a new car is nearly 70 months long. Even worse, 84-month, that's 7-year loans are frighteningly common, making up nearly a quarter of all new car financing. You're making payments for 7 years on a machine that's rapidly losing value. Let's do some quick, painful math. You buy a $45,000 SUV and finance $40,000. At a 7% interest rate for 84 months, your payment is about $600. That might sound doable, but over that loan, you'll pay over $10,000 in interest alone. Your $45,000 car really costs you more than $55,000. By year 7, when you're finally free, that car might be worth $15,000 if you're lucky. This is the definition of being car poor, and it leaves zero room for error. A job loss, a medical bill, that car payment is still due every single month. If those huge payments are the fever, negative equity is the disease. This is where the parallels to the 2008 housing crisis get a little too real. You've heard the term underwater or upside down. It just means you owe more on something than it's actually worth. And in today's car market, it's an epidemic. According to a stunning report from Edmunds, a record 28.1% of all vehicle trade-ins now have negative equity. That's more than 1 in 4 people walking into a dealership who are already in a financial hole from their last car. The size of that hole is terrifying. The average amount of negative equity has hit an all-time high of nearly $7,000. So the average person trading in an underwater car is starting their new purchase thousands of dollars in debt before they even sign the papers. How does this happen? It's a vicious cycle. First, new cars lose value the second you buy them, sometimes 20% in the first year alone. If you made a tiny down payment, you're almost instantly underwater. But the real trap is what the dealership tells you next. No problem, we'll just roll that negative equity into your new loan. It sounds like magic, but it's a financial catastrophe. Let's imagine a guy named Mark, 3 years ago, he bought a sedan. Today, he still owes $20,000, but the car is only worth $15,000. He has $5,000 in negative equity. He wants a new $50,000 truck. The dealer adds that $5,000 he's underwater right onto the new loan. So now, Mark isn't financing a $50,000 truck. He's financing a $55,000 truck. He drives off the lot instantly thousands of dollars underwater, plus the new depreciation. This is where you get loan to value ratios, or LTVs, that are completely out of whack. Lenders have been approving LTVs of 140% or even higher. That means they're giving you a $70,000 loan for a car that's only worth $50,000. This is almost exactly what happened with no money down home loans in 2007. When people hit a rough patch, they couldn't sell or refinance because they owed more than the house was worth. Today, millions of car owners are in the same trap. They can't sell their car without writing a check for thousands of dollars just to settle the loan. They are shackled to their vehicle. If any of this is starting to sound familiar, do me a favor and hit that like button. It tells YouTube this is a conversation worth having. And stick around, because we're about to get to where the dominoes really start to fall. Don't forget to subscribe so you stay updated. The third warning sign is the financial world's canary in the coal mine, the subprime auto market. These are loans to borrowers with lower credit scores who are charged much higher interest rates. When this group starts struggling to pay their bills, it's a huge red flag for the whole economy. Right now, that canary is gasping for air. According to Fitch Ratings, the percentage of subprime borrowers who are at least 60 days late on their car payments has soared to over 6.4%. That's a higher delinquency rate than we saw during the 2008 recession. Some reports show it's the highest it's been since they started tracking this stuff in the 1990s. The story from Wall Street is often, don't worry, it's a contained problem. But that completely misses the point. These borrowers are the most financially vulnerable. They're the first to feel the squeeze from inflation on food, rent, and gas. When they start missing car payments in record numbers, it's not a character flaw. It's a symptom of an economy that isn't working for a lot of people. And it's not just a subprime story anymore. The contagion is spreading. For the first time, we're seeing a real increase in delinquencies among prime borrowers, people with good credit. Why? Because a $1,000 car payment is a huge burden for anyone when the cost of groceries, insurance, and utilities keeps going up. People will usually pay their car loan before anything else because they need it to get to work. The fact that delinquency rates are spiking across the board is a serious warning. It suggests millions of families have already drained their savings and maxed out their credit cards. This is a direct threat to the thousands of smaller community banks and credit unions across the country. For many of them, auto lending is their business. When a wave of defaults hits, these smaller institutions are on the front lines. The losses could be devastating, which could force them to stop lending. That's a credit crunch, and it's what grinds an economy to a halt. When delinquencies go up, repossessions follow. And our fourth warning sign is that the repo man is back in a big way. In 2024, an estimated 1.73 million vehicles were repossessed, the highest number we've seen since the Great Recession in 2009. And forecasts show that number continuing to climb in 2025. This isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet, it's empty driveways and families left without transportation. But it also pours gasoline on the fire. All those repossessed cars get sent to auction lots to be sold off fast. Imagine millions of these cars flooding the used car market just as demand is weakening. What happens when supply skyrockets? Prices fall. Used car values are already coming down from their pandemic era highs, but this will push them down even faster. This creates a brutal feedback loop. First, repos flood the market with used cars. Second, this supply glut causes the value of all used cars to drop. Third, as values drop, it instantly makes the negative equity problem worse for every single person with a car loan. Your car is losing value way faster than you can pay it down. This is where a terrifying idea comes into play: strategic default. This is when someone who might even be able to keep paying makes a cold, hard financial decision to just stop. They look at their loan owing $50,000 on a car now worth $35,000 and realize it makes no sense to keep throwing good money after bad. So they stop paying and let the bank take the car. The more people who are severely underwater, the more who will strategically default. This leads to more repos, which floods the market, which crashes prices further, which makes negative equity worse for everyone else, which triggers even more defaults. It's a death spiral. And every time a bank repossesses a car, they take a huge loss, shredding their balance sheets and getting us closer to that credit crunch. The final warning sign is the most important. This isn't just a car problem. A crisis in the $1.65 trillion auto loan market won't stay contained. It will send destructive ripples through the whole economy. The first casualty is the auto industry itself. The industry is a cornerstone of the American economy, employing over 1 million people. If demand evaporates, car makers will be forced to make drastic cuts. Production lines will halt, factories will idle, and that means layoffs. A hypothetical 10% reduction in force could mean over 100,000 jobs lost. The second ripple hits consumer spending, which is the engine of our economy. Millions of families choked by car payments are already cutting back on everything else: restaurants, vacations, and shopping. Add widespread layoffs to the mix, and that spending slowdown will turn into a full blown retreat as people hoard cash. The third and most dangerous ripple hits small businesses, which employ nearly half of the entire American workforce. Many rely on lines of credit from local banks to operate. But these are the same community banks most exposed to the auto loan crisis. As their losses mount, they'll be forced to tighten lending for everyone. As JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon warned, when you see one cockroach, there are probably more. This squeeze on credit could trigger a wave of small business failures and more job losses. This is where all the warning signs come together. It's a chain reaction, and the evidence suggests the first domino is starting to wobble. While most experts agree this isn't a 2008 level systemic threat to global finance, it's a very real threat to the financial health of millions of households and the stability of the broader economy. Okay, so we've seen the warning signs: monster payments, the negative equity trap, soaring delinquencies, a wave of repossessions, and the ripple effect that could spread through the economy. The parallels to 2008 are a clear and present danger to your personal finances. But the point of this isn't to scare you, it's to prepare you. So what can you do? First, get honest about your own situation. Look up your car loan, what's the payment, the interest rate, the term. Then go to a site like Kelly Blue Book. Get a realistic value for your car and compare it to your loan balance. You have to know if you're underwater. Second, build your financial armor. The best shield against any economic storm is an emergency fund. I can't stress this enough. If you don't have 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses saved up, that needs to be your number one priority. Start now. Third, if you're a multi-car household, ask if you truly need all of them. Consider selling an extra vehicle now. Used car values are falling, but they have further to go. Selling now could get you out from under a loan and free up cash before the market drops more. Fourth, if you absolutely have to buy a car, be disciplined. Reject the 84-month loan. It's a trap. If you can't afford the payment on a 60-month loan, you can't afford the car. Look at reliable 2 to 3 year old used cars, and most importantly, get pre-approved for a loan from your own bank or credit union before you go to a dealership. Finally, stay informed. This situation is changing fast. I want to know what you're seeing out there. Are dealers near you offering big discounts? Do you know someone struggling with a car payment? Share your story in the comments below. If you found this video valuable, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.